guys ready, but we fully expected to win the game, and our guys played like it, and they never stopped believing that they would. And obviously that three was a big one, but to overcome the mistakes during the game, to overcome the turnovers, and that was big. And looked out there at one point, we had 4 freshmen on the court. I don't remember that, having a situation like that, but I was proud of them. And again, that shot was big at that point in the heat of the game. And give him credit, because Glenn Robinson had 13 in the second half, and Nick Stauskas had 14. And that's why they're 2 great players. And as good a job as we wanted to do, they still found a way. And they found different ways. They didn't find it from the three-point line today as much. That shot was, but they found it. We knew the driving game would be big today if we took the threes away. They did a good job cutting, moving, but our guys battled the whole way and answered every situation right to the very end.
Tom, can you talk about the start? I think you were 9 for 9 out of the gate. Just to start, your team got off.
Our guys were great. They were really locked in and ready to go. I mean, we feel like we're playing our best basketball. At least I do, and especially considering that what we missed with Noah. And it's very easy the Ohio State game was a little bit different. We defended the three so well, and the rim wasn't as big of a problem for us as it was on Wednesday night without him. And to have him back in there again today, really helped with our rim protection and what we were doing there. And I thought our guys did a fantastic job of really knowing what we could get, sticking with it, not coming out in just coming out in a complete attack mode, and that certainly helped our start. But again, even when we got down, there was no fear, and our guys have great confidence that they would be able to come back and we'd be able to get baskets. We just had to get stops, and unfortunately, we got just 1 or 2 less than we needed.
Tom, we're getting so much out of Devin, who hadn't played a whole lot in the last couple of games. I mean, did you see that in practice, or is it just get the opportunity?
Well, I think our whole story is with our youth has been, and you look around the country, and I don't think it's a big difference when you look at the other teams that are playing any type of young people, that are freshmen and sometimes even sophomores, but especially freshmen. It's inconsistency, and you want to have a consistent team because you can't win without it, but at the same time you got to go through the growing pains of getting it. And I thought he did a really good job the other night, and I knew, probably yesterday or Thursday that we would go with him in the lineup based on that, hoping that we would have Noah back, but not putting Noah in that situation of just coming right back in right off, depending on where he was at. Not prepare that way, prepare to get him in the game, not necessarily to start the game. And Devin did a fantastic job with that. I mean, Jordan Morgan is hard to deal with, and we knew what we were potentially going to deal with our switching, and John did a good job of getting to that early. And for the most part, we got a lot of that negated because of plays of guys like Devin and Troy and the way they used their length, and Noah. They did a really good job.
You mentioned the drive game. I guess, was it just sort of a situation if you're not really helping off the shooters, then it becomes.
That's a part of it. Yeah, that's why they're so good, and you're not. When we played them at our place, we're able to take both away for the most part, but they're getting better too. Their driving game, you can see it every time they play. I mean, their driving game continues to improve. But they can carve you up from the three-point line, and that's when they have beaten people at a high level and blown people out. It's because people are constantly over-helping and giving what is just a great shooting team all those kind of looks. I mean, I know what it's like to have one of those teams. Well, maybe not as good as that one was, but ours was pretty good the last couple of years, and we'll get that shooting again, to be where it's like that. But we have to continue to find ways to win the way we can right now, and guarding the dribble and not over-helping is a big part of that. And we got a little, it was a tightly called game, and I get that. I mean, that's part of it. And we had a couple of fouls, body fouls and things of that nature that probably got us a little nervous inside of the game. But it's also, this is not an easy team to switch defenses on because of the way they shoot the three. and they're very opportunistic with it. And there were a couple times we didn't take certain guys' hands away or strengths away, but for the most part, there were times when they got a little run going, I didn't think our ball pressure was very good, and they hurt us on some cuts. And that's why he's such a great coach with such a great program. He's got the best passing team in the league. Wisconsin's right there with him, and it might be the best passing team in the country. I haven't watched enough of everybody else, but they can all pass the basketball. And so, like, if you don't have your hands up and you're not right there on the cut, I mean, they're really good at getting it. So they're a highly, highly skilled team. And you got to be, your margin for error with them on the defensive end is really, really small.
You've given them as much trouble as any team in this league. Why is that about the matchups?
Oh, I don't know. I let other people figure that out. We're very confident with it. We know we're playing a great team. We just, I don't know. I think over the last couple, we were 7-2 on the road last year. You know, we gave a lot of people trouble. We had older guys. I think when you play consistent, you can do a lot of good things. For the most part, we've played pretty consistent against Michigan. And there's other times this year, hence our record, that we haven't been as consistent. Even though we lost the game today, we still did a lot of good things that we can build on. But it's still the same things. Turnovers in the second half, not being good enough on the offensive glass and allowing them to be too good on the offensive glass today. And then their two best players getting the points that they got in the, well, I shouldn't say it, Karis LeVert's pretty good too, but the points that Robinson and Stauskas got in the second half were big points.
What do you think we're seeing from guys like Devin and Troy and Stan as they're sort of moving into the latter
Growing up.
stages?
I mean, just growing up. I mean, it's, I saw a comment John made the other day, and I'm paraphrasing, so I don't have it all down. The people that cover him might remember it better, but he talked about the defense that Zach Irvin and Derek Walton Jr. played in the Illinois game. I mean, that's their 30th or 31st game too. And freshmen are freshmen, and we happen to have a lot of them. And we expect a lot of them. And we coach them hard and tough, and they're learning a lot, they're maturing. And when that maturity turns into consistency, we'll be a really good team. But in the meantime, this is what it looks like. When it's not there, you can have a week like this. You beat Ohio State, who's outstanding, got one of the oldest teams in the league on Sunday without one of your better players. You lose to a team on Wednesday night at home because you make a few too many mistakes, and you come into Michigan on a game that we knew we'd get their best effort. I mean, we read all the stories. I mean, we knew that I don't think anyone thought for a second that they wouldn't bring their very best today, even though they'd won the championship. And we kind of ran out of time at the end. You know, we ran out of possessions at the end. We were a couple stops short in this game. But that's what's happening. And we're growing up.
You said that you're playing your best basketball.
So we want to be. We want to be. That if I said we are, I didn't mean that. I said we want to be playing our best.
But, I mean, do you feel like you could, even on a 2-game losing streak, you may have momentum going into the Big Ten tournament based on the way you guys have played the last 2 weeks?
I don't know. I don't know how to view that. I think momentum, I don't think you can look at momentum day to day. I think you look at momentum game-wise, like segment to segment, possession by possession is really where momentum comes in. To me it does. But the bottom line is, looking at this team, you know, the feel I had from this team this morning, yesterday at practice, in the locker room before the game, halftime, you know, throughout the game. I don't think anybody felt like we were ever going to lose. You know, and that's what you want. Now we did, okay, but having that mentality, that hard-nosed seriousness, locked-in, intense mentality that they had, that gives you a great feeling that you can be successful. So, but the trick is we've got to continue to build on that. And we still have some of the same mistakes to show up with taking care of the basketball and decision-making. And we have to get better on the glass. And our young guys have got to continue to grow and mature and lose some of the inconsistencies that go with being young. And if those things happen, then we'll see what happens next week.
Time for one more.
You talked, the turnovers obviously being a major problem, I guess, what sort of stood out to you in that regard, just in terms of ball security?
Not going through the high post in the zone. You know, every time we got through the high post and got a swung to the corner, something good really happened. And they don't want you to get it there. And so you've got to go, they're very long and athletic up at the top. That's one reason that we post the middleman. Well, it doesn't do any good to post him if you don't hit him constantly. And we move people around in there. And when we got it there and got it swung, I mean, that's where some of Troy's dunks were and the cuts. But they're really good at that defense. And if you go in and you try to make a play that's not there, if you think you're just going to wing it at times against that defense, that's where the turnovers come. You got to be, we were really good yesterday and even this morning. That was the one thing we did live this morning, was attacking that. And we were really good with it. We played through the high post and we got it into the corners and overloaded. And when you're sitting out there at the top, especially with two smaller guards, you have to, because it's so hard to see, you have to get it into those areas. So there was one time Evan had a turnover through a lateral pass. I mean, you never go lateral. There's no such thing as a two-guard front. I mean, it's always got to be diagonal, you know, so you always have the ability to throw it back and attack. And that was a turnover, but we tried a little too hard. I think that happens with youth. It wasn't like they were trying to do too much. They were feeling the onus of making plays, and that's what happens in a game like this. You see the other team making plays, and you want to make them too. And sometimes you just got to trust the offense a little bit and get one more reversal. When we did that, we were really good today. All right, thank you.